the wonderful Theron Brown.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Oh, wow. San Diego has been great. I've enjoyed my time here, and it's so special to play for you all. And gosh, I'm like, There's a lot going on right now. First time playing in San Diego as a solo project, and I couldn't be more grateful to my dear friend and mentor, Mr. Kamal Kenyatta. If we could give him a big hand. Like he said, we're going to talk some more. We're going to talk some more about the album and the process, but first I just want to talk about just how kind he's been and how giving he's been, him and his wife, even inviting me into your home and taking care of me and allowing me a place to stay while I was recording the album. But this record, I'll just start off saying, you know, it's entitled Spirit Fruit, and it stands for a lot of things that I think I like to represent. I like to see a lot of other people represent. The music for this album was very collaborative, and a lot of what you're hearing is a certain kind of confidence that Mr. Kamal Kenyatta instilled in me, just, you know, telling me that I'm good enough, I'm a good player, even though I'm looking at myself, I'm just this little kid from Ohio, the country, you know, Midwest vibe. Oh, we got some Midwesterns in here? Okay. Let's see if this works. OH. Ohio, yes. That's a thing. If you're in Columbus, like, go down there and just yell OH. Yeah. That first song you heard was entitled Eternal Grace. And grace is something that, you know, we all need in life. I think to be able to share that with each other, it makes the world a little bit better, right? So the next tune that I'm going to play is the title track of the album entitled Spirit Fruit. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much. That was eternal spirit fruit. So, as you heard in my little bio there, I come from a church background, and my father's a pastor. So I grew up just being in that environment every day of the week. And if you know how an apostolic Pentecostal church is, yeah, we're there Monday for usher board meeting, Tuesday for choir rehearsal, Wednesday for Bible study. You know, it just keeps going. Even to Saturday, like cleaning the toilets at the church. You know, we're either there every day. So there was nothing else for me to do but sit at the instruments and try to figure them out. So I started out on drums at like probably 4 or 5 playing in church. And we always had a piano at our house, so I was, 2 years old climbing up there trying to play some notes. But I really took to gospel music, and that's where I got my roots. If you know, that's a very, traditional type of music that is rooted here in America when it comes to that, the history of that. So I'm going to play a gospel song that's not on the album to just kind of pay homage to that, because that's where all this is coming from. Spirit fruit, that's where I first started thinking about those things, was in church. So, and I'm sure you can hear it in my playing. It's kind of obvious, but this one will be very obvious, and it's simply entitled, I Love You. Thank you, thank you. That was one of the first songs I had learned coming up in the church. I always like the chord changes, of course. Okay, the next tune that I am going to play for you is off the record, and it's entitled Morning Horizon. And it's very fitting because I think San Diego might have one of the most beautiful morning horizons I've ever seen. It's been wonderful. Y'all might just see me out here too. I'm liking it a lot. And I brought my wife with me for this trip. You know, she runs the household, so. But I actually wrote this song with her in mind some years ago. I can't even remember when, but you know, it's just a song that's dedicated to this kind of hope that the sun gives us every day. You know, that reminder that, oh yeah, it's gonna be light again. And sometimes you got to pour out your cup, fill it back up, pour it up. You know, I kind of get those vibes from the sun, and it's always a reminder. And out here, the sun's a lot closer, so y'all can relate to what I'm talking about, right? So this is Morning Horizon, and yeah, just kind of contemplate that, whatever that means to you, thinking about that renewal that you get every morning. Thank you all so much. Now I think it's about that time where we're going to have a little talk between all of us. So if you could just give us a second, we're going to set up the stage and bring my dear friend and mentor, Kamal Kenyatta, back up. So we'll be back in just a second.
You see what I mean? Very easy to listen to. I could just go on. And I must say, Theron, and we'll come back to this, but the music has even evolved since you recorded it. And I hear, like, even in Spirit Fruit, there's some beautiful changes to the music. But before we talk about the project, or while we talk about the project, I would be remiss if I didn't point out this incredible cover. And the art is by Mzwandile Buthelezi from South Africa. And sometimes good things happen on social media, because I've always seen his art, and I just said, let me try and see if he'll do a cover for me. And I reached out to him, and fortunately he was aware of some of my work, and he was a very, very gracious person, and just completely versed in all aspects of the art world, poetry, historical work, and we really kind of clicked, and I asked him to do it, and I told him Theron's idea for the title, and that's what he came up with, and it's so, so beautiful. I own the original. It's a yeah, it's a very small work, but it's so much detail and beauty, and again, through music, I met almost everybody in this room that I know personally because of music. And in this case, I'm communicating with another artist from around the world. And we're kindred spirits. We talk, whether we're working on something, at least twice a month, So because there is another recording coming in this series. It's already been recorded, and then I've got to do the hard work of putting it together. But anyway, that brings us to the photography on the album, and it's by a colleague of mine from UCSD. He's from Ireland, so we've got South Africa, Ireland, and the country of Detroit, where I'm from. And Brian Cross, a wonderful friend and a great, great artist, took these photos of Theron. The shot at the grand piano is with a film camera, and I just love that shot. And the other one, he and Theron are walking there at UCSD, at Warren Hall, and Brian can always find some reflection or crack in a window or something and create something beautiful. And I love that image of Theron. And you can see that image at theron.live, the new website. So anyway, Brian Cross, you can see some of the people he's photographed. They're not listed here, but I mean, Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Theron. His work really spans a lot of genres, a lot of people, and it's just really fascinating. My good friend from Limerick, Ireland, Brian Cross. Okay, so that brings us to what we did. Spirit Fruit. Oh yes, the next slide. Can you tell us how you chose the title and tell a little bit about this verse?
Absolutely. So as you know, I'm a church boy, so that's my influences. And I'd been thinking about this probably even well before the pandemic, but it really solidified some things with, I've got children now, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to raise them in a crazy world. What do you want for them? And this verse stood out to me, and it's like the things that I feel that everybody should just have. But the end of the verse is probably the part that spoke most to me. And as you can see, it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Then it finishes with, against such there is no law, which is wonderful, right? You can exercise those things without being taken to jail or something. I don't know. But it's just what I feel in my heart, what the world needs, and a lot of the songs encapsulate that. And also, when I was able to meet up with Kamal, it solidified that, oh yeah, we can even come together on this project and make it come to fruition. And yeah, now it's here, and the vibrations are pushing out there, so I hope that it comes across that way.
Yes, of course. And, what I would add to what he just said is, for me, it's like this huge honor to always get a chance, not always, but often get a chance to work with such a great pianist, right? And then this guy's going to be listening to me and my ideas about music, and there's a lot of kind of trust that goes on in this relationship between a producer and artist. And with Theron and I must say that we didn't work that hard on developing that relationship. It just seemed to be there from the beginning. Can you talk a little bit about, what is it like to work with a producer? Had you worked with a producer on a project?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is my first time working with a producer this closely on one of my personal projects. I have with other projects, and those were experiences. This one, though, was beautiful from the beginning. Like Kamal had mentioned, we first met on Curtis Taylor's project.
Yes.
And I was nervous, so nervous when Curtis told me that he was going to be there, because I was already a fan of his playing piano and everything. So we get there, and he just made me feel so comfortable in the studio, and I played like I never had before. And that was my experience, was that it took me up to another level, and that's what Kamal does. When you're around him, you're elevated, period. It doesn't matter what you do, actually. You could be in science, you could be in engineering. He is just an inspiring individual, and it's about you and you being able to tell your story, and him allowing that room that space to do that. So that was my experience with Mr. Kamal Kenyatta.
Wow, that's really kind. We have to really be careful, because there are quite a few scientists and engineers, and I don't know if Marco would agree with that, or Marcello, but I don't know. But yeah, I do really want to help people be better, and specifically younger musicians. And at this time in my life, a lot of people go, "Oh, that's wonderful, the work that you do." And sometimes my question to other musicians my age is like, shouldn't we be doing that at this point? Next year will be my 70th year, and maybe it's time. Thank you. Maybe it's time to really look after what's coming next. And again, I'm completely inspired by his work and how Theron thinks, and many other young people that I work with. There's quite a few in the audience tonight, and I can't, if I start mentioning people that I work with, but they're here. Super talented people that you're going to be hearing from in the future. And hopefully, I'll get to work with them too, because it's my great joy to spend time with someone like Theron and other young musicians. It's a big joy for me. That's all I can say. Yeah.
You know what? I got a question for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you look for in musicians when you're on the search?
I don't really look for anything, because I think I'm just kind of attracted to different musicians with different talents. But we communicated well. There's so many talented people out there, and the internet and the global world that we're living in. If you're aware, people often say that I'm a humble person, and I think I have good reason to be humble. When I listen to the artists from around the world, there's just fantastic musicians everywhere. So then the question becomes, who can you make a difference with? Who can you communicate well with? And Theron is one of those people for me. And because we didn't work that hard. There's very little back and forth. I mean, might make some small suggestion to Theron. Most of it is not musical, but just maybe conceptual. For instance, when we recorded this, he recorded on a 9-foot concert Steinway piano at UCSD at Warren Hall, and I just Theron, let the piano do some work for you. This is an incredible instrument, so you don't have to overplay. Just let it sound. I mean, that's not that big of a thing. I mean, it's obvious to me, but maybe you hadn't thought of it that way at the point.
No, I hadn't. It was relieving because it takes the pressure off trying to play for musicians, which that is the worst. Yeah, to the young folks out there, do not fall in that trap. Like, this music is to express yourself, and it's cultural. It's about the people. And we need you. Don't be shy from putting music out like I have been for so long. It's like you're adding to the ecosystem out here, a vibration. And just like how we all breathe and we have to live our lives, that's a purpose. Well, if you can make music, that's a gift, and you must share it. And I'm much older now. I think my kids have a lot to do with that, too, because it's like, uh-oh, running out of time. Change the diapers and go into basketball, all this different stuff. But it can be done, and just do it from an honest place. And that is what Kamau allowed me to do in the studio, being comfortable, just guidance, making the suggestions, but not, never saying he didn't like something. It's just about maybe a better choice, or.
I can't think of anything I didn't like that he did, though. So that was not hard. Yeah. Well, are there any questions in the audience? We have time for a couple questions, and then we'll move on to more music. Does anybody have a question for Theron? Yeah. So the question, everybody, was concerning if there's a possible connection to the famous rendition of the poem that Billie Holiday did called "Strange Fruit" and "Spirit Fruit."
Mm-hmm. That has been, I've been asked that before, and there isn't a connection, but it did cause me to think about it, because words are important, and the order that they're put in is important. Honestly, I switched the words around "spirit fruit." It's really called "the fruit of the Spirit." And I look at spirit fruit as something that can then be like, you can intake it when you change those words around. I think that's what we need to do more of, is intake some of this stuff so we know what it feels like and we know how to give it back out. A lot of the times do we know what real love is? We can stop right there. But the fruit of the Spirit is love. Stop. Let's talk about that and unlayer it, right? So in relation to strange fruit, I think that shows the darker side of just basically the opposite, right? Yin and yang type thing. And that's, I want this to be culturally sound too. This isn't, super religious, like I ain't gonna start preaching to y'all or nothing. But it's for everybody. I think a lot of human nature just has these things, and it needs to just be brought to light. Thank you.
And again, he also mentioned this idea of creating some music that everyone can listen to, and that's important to me because music is about its expression, and communication, and we would like to reach everybody. We'd like not to be only jazz people listen to what Theron does. It should be for everybody. It's just nice. It's just nice music. Again, I said his sound is like a photogenic person's photograph. It is. Any other questions? Yes. Okay, so the question is about how it is playing compositions by someone else. In this case, on Spirit Fruit, there are 5 songs that Theron wrote and 4 that I wrote. And so the question from a former student, I guess I can say that. So Patrick's question is about how it is to play someone else's music, and especially if that person is producing the project.
Yeah. Well, firstly, it's the tallest, order of, respect for Kamau to trust me to play one of his songs, or many of his songs, it makes you feel really good, and it also makes you feel really scared, because you better do a good job. But, on a serious note, we had multiple Zoom sessions before I came out to record. And I recorded those sessions too. I watched them before I came out here to play. And it just reminded me of how we first started. Kamau would actually play the songs for me, but just skeleton, nothing too extra or anything,
That's because that's how I play.
Oh, stop. Take his mic away. No,
That's why we give it to a great pianist.
No, I was blown away, and honestly, that's what I was thinking in my head. Well, why does he want me to record the song? We can just play it all, this beautiful piano. But I spent some months, listening to the records he had recorded and everything, and just to get the feeling of, and let the music speak to me through his lens, but also definitely through mine. And that being able to intake actually didn't come from me sitting in the practice room just playing. It was us talking about things that wasn't even related to music. This man helped me with so much in life during a time that I needed it. Like, I needed this recording. I really needed it. So I can, do this. And it feels good, So that was my intake process, which might be a little different later, but this being my first time with Kamau, it was really important to, yes, play the tunes right, but what he wanted me to get out of it was finding myself, which was really nice to explore. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. That's really kind. Well, I think if Theron is going to be available after, because Spirit Fruit will be on sale in the lobby, and you can talk to him more there. I think most of us probably want to get back to that music. I know I do. So let's continue. How about another hand for Theron Brown?
Okay, in this second set, we are going to hear some of Kamau's music, and the first tune I'm going to play, I'm actually going to switch up the set a little bit. It's entitled Destiny, and this tune really resonated with me when he first played it. It's just so beautiful, and you can go to a different place. Imagine what you want. What is the destiny when you acquire all these things? How do you interact with different people? How do you view the world now that you're looking through a different lens? And that's what this tune says to me. It's, you'll like it. It's Kamau. Yes. Kamau.
I just want to say something really quickly that we have plans, Nick and I, you don't even know about this, but there is a video of him performing that in studio, shot by our dear friend David Max Steinberg, that is going to appear on Theron.live very soon. So that's another reason to go to his site to see the work of David Max Steinberg.
Yes, indeed. Y'all give it up for Kamau. Beautiful song. Beautiful. Okay, actually, you have keep your mic, Kamau. I'm going to have you talk about this. Put them on skates. This next tune I'm going to play is called For Billy McCoy, and I'm going to have you talk about him. But this tune, I just love it. It's got a whole vibe on it, and it just shows. We were able to work on this song together when I stayed at Kamau's house, and let me tell you, he said he's Gary B. 70. It took everything in me to keep up with this man. Oh my gosh, we're up working on music at like 2, 3 in the morning, listening to stuff. He's playing, there, check out this chord. I'm like, wow, okay, I can't even think about this right now. But just a total genius, and it was just a joy to see his mind work and to still be so ahead of his just music's time. I mean, the harmonies that's in this would be considered modern or something, but yeah, I'd like you to talk about.
Okay, very quickly. So this song is called For Billy McCoy. Billy McCoy was a pianist from Detroit, about 5 years my senior, and sadly we lost Billy last year. He was a good friend of mine and really an inspiration, really kind of way beyond anything I could do pianistically. But as a teenager, I used to sit at his house and in a cloud of smoke of various kind, and I wasn't smoking, but and watch this man create and play incredible piano. And he was a constant student of the music. He studied with the great Claire Fisher, and he had great technique, great knowledge of harmony, and just one of those kind of eccentric geniuses who probably didn't do as much as he might have had he not been as eccentric as he was. But still, he left a great impact on me and many other younger musicians who went to his place to just sit and watch this man play. So this is for Billy McCoy.
bad song. That's a bad song. Okay, next we are going to move on to a very moodier song by Kamau that I've really found attractive. And he titled it Mawu's Dance. And at first it was titled The Sun Goddess. And after, we had some conversations and things, he wanted to change the title. And this piece really spoke to me. It stretched me the most on the record to think more about painting a picture or telling a story. So yeah, let's see where it takes you all. Go with me on this journey. Every time I play it, it's like, it can go anywhere. So we'll see what happens tonight. Goodness, this has gone by rather quickly. We're almost at time, and I have one more piece to play, and it's a song that just expresses everything I feel right now for this whole experience of recording, getting to spend time with Kamau, being here with you all to play, and it's simply called Grateful. And that's how I feel right now, and I got a lot to be grateful about. I got these 3 little ones at home, which makes my life actually super crazy. We're losing it. And this is actually, God, I tried to breeze by it. Yeah, we need help. But this is her first time being to California, and it's her first time being away from the kiddos for this extended amount of time, which has been about 5 days going on tomorrow. Look, everybody's looking, where she's at? Where's she at? Go ahead and stand up. Y'all give her a hand. It's my lovely lady, Tony Louise Brown. And yeah, it's so nice to have her out here with me to share this experience too. And yeah, we miss our little ones. We actually can't wait to get back to see them. So, and we hope to bring them out here next trip. So, again, everyone, thank you so much. I'll be out there to talk to you, and yeah, I want to meet everybody, see what's happening in San Diego. All right. Thank you to Kamau. Thank you to UCSD. Everybody that helped with this project. It's meant so much, and I'm forever grateful. So here's this song. Thank you all so much for coming out. You've been wonderful, San Diego. Thank you. I really appreciate it.